pretty jazzy. Welcome to the Aisha Effect. Perimenopause in motion, hot topics, and cool conversations. My name is Aisha Rashan, your yoga practitioner and menopause wellness coach. I'm so excited about what today's topic is, and it's about navigating perimenopause while parenting, and in my case, parenting teenagers. Have you ever snapped at your child and immediately wondered, who was that person? Or even felt guilty because you simply didn't have any more left to give? And if so, you're not alone. So I want to just jump right into our topic about this navigating through perimenopause while parenting. The last episode, though, we talked about recognizing perimenopause. And today, I want to just discuss how I just felt so unprepared. Nobody prepared me. My first daughter, it was like easy work, right? Because I wasn't navigating through perimenopause. But 6 years later, I got married and had my second daughter at the age of 14. She began to explore and navigate through young womanhood. I didn't know what was going on with me. I had major mood swings and crash outs, and we knocked and butt heads consistently. One day, so much so, my mom was like, I need you to go to the doctor to check out what's going on because your mood swings and your crash outs are so intense. So I said, what do you mean? She said, you might be going through a midlife crisis called perimenopause. And I said, how come I'm just learning about this at 47? And she was just like, well, it was nothing to talk about. It was so taboo, and it was such a taboo topic. So being a mom, hindsight, with younger kids was much more easier than navigating as teenagers. And what is this midlife crisis we're talking about? While my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, is navigating through what is this thing called a period, her cycle. This story is going to be absolutely amazing because I have my daughter with me as we're going to share our story on how we had to go through the fire in order to get to where we are today, and we're still healing. I failed to mention that by this time, her being 14, I was a single mom. Me and my husband had separated and divorced. So I was in full survival mode. I was on the county. I was in between jobs. I was working for temp agencies and the whole nine. So I felt like I really wasn't prepared for parenting my teenage daughter while my hormones were all over the place. Let's talk about when these hormones meet motherhood. Man, I felt like my patience was short. I felt overstimulated. And because the kids were all over the place being teenagers, they're 2 years apart, I was so quick to want quiet. What I want to do and what I'm excited about is the fact that my daughter was willing to be here with me on this episode as we navigate it, and we're healing as we speak through this process. So, Soraya.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
I want you to talk about your experience when you were recognizing that something changed or is shifted.
Well, I didn't recognize it because I didn't know what was going on, but I just realized he was just more snappier, and it was weird because we both was having mood swings, so I didn't know how to go about it. So yeah, I probably it caught me by surprise. I don't know.
So what was your overall experience? You're like 18 now, but being that you were 14, 15, 16, we were in the thick of it then, like really in the thick of it. So what are some of the things that you, like now hindsight, knowing that I was going through a change, you were going through a change, what were those things that you would describe as the most complicated part of our relationship?
I just think me, I'm literally the same person as you. So I think it was hard to both of our emotions combined together, and you having stronger emotions than me going through this phase, it was a lot. You know, I did act out in some ways too.
So would you admit that you maybe out of all three of my children were the most challenging?
I said I was definitely more outspoken than the other one. So
More outspoken, definitely were. I knew when you were in my belly, you were like rumble jumble. And I was like, uh-oh, this gonna be the one. So what happened at the age of 14? There was something, a big shift that happened between you and I.
yeah, so I didn't realize it until I was like, when you say something, you would say something, and then when you get back home, your whole energy would shift to a different thing. So I was just like, I thought you was like bipolar or something, but I realized when I got older because you told me about it. But yeah, so it was just a lot. Like you asked, like the way you disciplined, it was just a little bit more extreme than you usually would. So that I think at that point, it like took a turn to where it was just like I had to go, and I just overreact. I didn't feel like I overreacted, but like I did at the same time. But it was just like I'm just bouncing off of your emotions and stuff like that.
So you end up doing what?
I moved in with my dad. So.
And what grade were you in?
Ninth, going to ninth.
You were in the middle of the 9th grade. And it hurt my heart so much when you made that decision, but I felt like deep down that probably was the best decision for us to figure it out, right?
Yes.
So 15 and 16, and I'm still figuring it out if what's happening with my body, what's happening with my emotions, what's happening with my mood swings, all the things, right? I was so overstimulated by you all, short-circuited for sure. So once you moved in with your dad, we took a little hiatus. We didn't talk for a little bit.
Correct.
How'd you feel about that?
Honestly, I was a teen, so I just felt good getting out that house, honestly, so.
You wanted what you wanted when you wanted, by any means necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we went through a very dark space, you know, and it took a moment, and it was really hard on me because your dad and I didn't see eye to eye at the time. But then when you got over there, what is the one thing that you recognized the most once you got in there, you got settled and into the school in that district, because it was in Long Beach, California. You went from Torrance to Long Beach. So what did you recognize once you got there and settled in?
That nobody was breathing down my neck every second. that I like that, but at the same time, it was not a lot of structure. Like it was not structured as it was here, and that's why I decided to be here now, like every other week, so I could get that structure.
But at the time, you didn't see that.
No, I didn't at all.
Yes. So due to the lack of structure, what were some of the things that you experienced, or that you even pretty much you were acting out in some ways?
Yeah,
what were some of those things that you did?
I just felt like I was not getting enough attention, so I did act out. You know, I had ran away at some point. You know, teenagers have those phases, and yeah, I was
some teens.
Okay, some teens. But yeah, I ran out the house. Well, I would say I'm definitely not boy crazy, but I did have those boy phases where I wanted to go out with my friends, and if it was a no, I would be over the top dramatic, and if I didn't get my way, I was mad. So in that teen phase.
Do you have any regrets from those moments? So 3 years, so 14, 15, 16. 17, you were somewhat coming out of it, but you still were like in the thick of some of that rebellion. Do you have any regrets? And it's okay if you
honestly,
don't.
Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know. I don't remember if I had any grades. I feel like I only regretted it when I got caught.
You got caught.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just feel like it was overly strict, but part of that is because of my behavior. But at the same time, it was just overly strict. So it's like when I felt like it was overly strict and I couldn't do nothing, I felt boxed in. I had to go. I went crazy and just like had to go out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it.
And so with the overly strict part, like, what was so overly strict about what I was pouring into you and how I was parenting you versus how your dad was parenting you?
I couldn't go out with my friends. I couldn't go outside. I just couldn't really do anything for real. You would give me you give me and my brother like advice and books to read and stuff like that on a learning basis for us to like grow at a young age. But I feel like at a young age we're not worried about that. We're worried about our friends and what they're doing outside. But it is better to start young. But I didn't realize that because I was young, so I was just in the mind of a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only thing I felt like it was strict. No phones. Everybody else had a phone around me. So I was always trying to get the backup phones you have and take those. But yeah.
We had phones at some point, but I took them away. I took them away, and I took them away for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Because remember the laptops? I got you laptops. I got you when you were homeschooled.
Yeah, I think around 12 and 13. You
Yeah. And you spilled orange juice on 3 days into having.
My brother spilled it.
3 days into having that. So, being that there was a lot of times where we were at odds, I know I wanted to throw in my mom card because it was just way too complicated. And like I said, I was easily overstimulated. And because I felt like I was the main parent, parenting you, guiding you, directing you, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And it was betrayal to me. So I definitely felt that. So yeah, I love the fact that fast forward, we're where we are now. You're initiating wanting to, have structure in your life and notice that the structure pays off and it has paid off, from in the past. So one, that is part of our healing. And also too, I think I told you this before about how I apologize for a lot of my short circuit and popping off and whatever, because I wasn't knowing what I was going through. So of course, some of that was traumatizing to you as well as how your behavior was traumatizing to me. So in this, what I want to press upon everyone is that there's light at the end of the tunnel. It felt very dark for me and my daughter. And I felt like I was in it all alone. And then I was also having my son, who's 2 years younger than my daughter, witnessing all this and was like, what the hell? What's going on? The turning point. When did I realize that I really needed the help? I realized when I needed the help when the law got involved. And, just to steer away from all the details, I realized that, wow, I need to get my act together. I need to get either some counseling, some yoga. I already had a relationship and praying through it with God, but I needed an additional something to help me. And so in the midst of our transitioning in her 9th grade year, I had decided to go to yoga teacher training. And it was by the grace of God because I created a vision board a year ago about becoming a yoga practitioner, a successful yoga practitioner, and didn't know how I was going to get through it because it was a $4,000 investment. So I signed up for it, and then I let it go. And then a year after that, I got an email stating, you have 75% off of an opportunity to become a yoga teacher. Say what? Like, the floodgates just opened. Everything worked out in my favor. I finally graduated from yoga teacher training in my 200 hour. I immediately became an instructor, and that just helped me on my healing journey to go deep within myself to become a better person and to heal the version of myself that was traumatized, and also forgiving myself in the process, like forgiving myself for not wanting to be a mom. What helped me become a better mom? Well, I remember when my mom was helping me navigate through this part, and it almost makes me emotional, and she said, Aisha, you're pushing 50 and you've done absolutely everything in your power to be the best mom you know how. And sometimes you overextended yourself. So you need to learn how to create boundaries. And that resonated with me because I was like, you know what? I already had challenges with hypertension. Anytime I got stressed out, my blood pressure went through the roof. I was on some medication. So I had to make sure I monitored my stress levels. So that's where I learned to create boundaries, staying prayed up, practicing yoga, taking breaths, pausing before I reacted, hydrating more, drinking more water, and asking for help. Also, saying no without an explanation.
You never had a problem saying no.
Say what?
You never had a problem saying no.
I always gave you what you wanted, even in the thick of it. You don't think so?
Not always.
Okay. Well, she said I didn't have a problem saying no, so we'll take that off the checklist. Midlife and perimenopause and the symptoms that we experience is not an excuse for poor parenting, but it is an explanation for why many women suddenly feel like we're failing. I felt like I was a failure as a mom. Like I really was going through a moment where I just didn't want this particular kid. I just didn't want to be a mom to her. And I expressed that to her too. So this is why I'm apologizing, because I said some hurtful things in the midst of the emotion. And also too, we've had our, off camera moments where she apologized, I apologized, and now we're growing. You get one mom, and if anything happened to any of my children, I would be devastated. So what we chose to do is, out of growing through that and going through that we're choosing to grow out of it and to become healthier in our relationship. This was such a fun topic to discuss. And first and foremost, I want to thank my daughter for joining me on this episode. Soraya, I love and appreciate you.
I love you too, Mom.
So moms, remember, we spend years teaching our children how to grow up, but perimenopause teaches us how to grow from within. This season isn't about becoming someone new. I do know this. It is about giving ourselves permission to become the woman that we've always needed.